This right here is a very successful Japanese maple clone that started popping roots in less than 2 weeks. A month total. It had big, beautiful, gorgeous roots on it. If you stay tuned, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it and my secret weapon that barely anybody else uses. I did this one on 11/25 and today is 12/25. I can't believe it sprouted roots so fast. Look at that. That is way faster than I anticipated. Now you can tell when something is going to sprout roots or sprouting roots by the tips dying on the leaves. So if you leave some foliage, if you have foliage, the tips will die because the plant or the tree is pulling nutrition out of the leaves to develop roots with it. I'm going to cut this off and I'm going to plant it, and then we're going to do a next section down. I'm going to end up getting like 5 or 6 clones out of this tree here. This tree here is still dormant, actually. It got sent to me dormant, and I haven't been able to bring it out of dormancy. But that's fine because they still grow roots in dormancy, and dormancy is the best time to clone a Japanese maple. I do this one-handed. We got a tree! This is what I cloned it in. Seed starting mix. That's this material that I've had it in for over a month. Right now I'm going to transplant it into seed starting mix mixed with this perlite I got off Amazon. You want lots of air getting to your roots. That's what you want. Lots of air getting to your roots. I don't have any fertilizer, so I'm just going to take just a tiny pinch of instant coffee. I probably shouldn't even be doing this. And throw it in there so it has something. That'll be nitrogen, magnesium, and calcium, I believe. I know it's nitrogen and magnesium. Be careful if you're using coffee. Coffee plays with your acidity, but Japanese maples prefer a more acidic soil, just a slightly more acidic soil. So this one should be all right. These are just 100-watt Sansi growing lights. I might have them more. 14 hours on, remainder 10 hours off. These are my little apple trees over here. They're more in the direct light. I keep this about 18 inches away from the top canopy, which is recommended. You never want to get LEDs close to plants, too close, or else your plants won't grow. Trust me, I've learned this the hard way. I've burned and I've shocked and I've killed a lot of plants and trees and stuff like that. I got this guy out of the direct light. I killed my fern the other day. I forgot to water it. Over here, he's got a tiny bit of coffee for fertilizer. I've watered it. I'm probably going to spray this again later because peat moss is very hard to saturate, but after that, I'm going to let him dry out. You know, I'm not going to overwater that. I'm not going to rot it. I need those roots to grow out and look for water. I'm going to encourage that, and I'm not going to over fertilize him either. I'm going to give him quite a while and let him do his thing out of here in the shade. Now we're going to repeat the process. I'm going to move further down this tree right here, and we're going to clone another section of it until I get a whole bunch of these. We're going to keep doing this. I'm going to show you my secret weapons for doing this. I have undone the plant from that loop or the tree, and what we're going to do is we are going to keep these 2 top leaves right here, and we're going to target this section down here. So this is where our roots are going to come out on our next cutting. So what I'm going to do is take these leaves right off like that, and I've got a fresh razor blade here, and right below this node. So we want 2 nodes on a cutting at least. 1 node up top for the vegetative growth, and then we want 1 node on the bottom for the root growth. That's very important. So right below this node, I am going to delicately cut off this bark around a 1/4 inch, give or take. And this is exactly what I did a month ago on that cutting I showed you in the beginning of the video. Then I'm going to peel off its fresh green bark here. Let me trace my lines again. Now I'm stripping away the bark. This is kind of a delicate young tree to be doing this with. I'm going to make sure that the entire circumference of that is stripped Yep. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is take my razor blade and just scrape a little more. I don't really want to see green there. I don't want the tree to be able to bring nutrients past this point, so it's motivated to push out roots. I'm going to scrape this area. Oh my god, I've tried hundreds of just lopping these off and getting cuttings to root completely separated, cutting it off completely, you know, traditional root or cuttings for, and they usually rot or die within a month or two, and I've only ever had one root out of hundreds, and that was in straight perlite. So air layering is the way to go. Now for the secret weapon, dip and grow. I have used every other kind of rooting gel, rooting hormone. They work with a very slow or sporadic success rate. They do not work as well as this. And most of them have the IBA. That's the only ingredient they have. This, it combines two active ingredients, and I am not going to try to pronounce that. We'll just call it INAP acid. It has IBA and INAP acid. Very, very powerful, good stuff. We got to be careful with it because it is very powerful, and it will make this thing root very fast. The rooting hormone comes with a cup, and this is what you're supposed to use to mix it. Here's the fill level that you fill your hormone up to, and then you do 10x, 15x, or 20x, or 5x for hardwood cuttings. That is way too much rooting hormone. I will never use all that. You're just supposed to dip your cuttings into it. Therefore, I have an intermuscular syringe. This is like a big turkey baster almost. I buy these just for stuff like this. And what I'm going to use is this to make a small amount of it at like 10 or 15x strength. And I'm just going to shake it vigorously. By the way, I got this stuff for 15 or 20 bucks off Amazon. See, we got 1 ml there, 2 ml here, 3 ml here. And I'm going to do 1/10 of an ml with the rooting hormone. So one of these tiny notches, the first tiny notch right here with straight rooting hormone. I'm going to play it safe, less is more. I'm going to do up to 1.5 ml water. So I'm going to do 15x dilution rate. So one tiny little notch with the hormone and up to 1.5 ml. You think stronger is better, but you'll just end up killing your stuff. I've learned that the hard way. Trust me there. Straight tap water. This is from a well, so it doesn't have any chlorine or any of the garbage they add in the cities. And I'm just going to go to 1.5. Now I'm going to pull some air in, shake it. Keep in mind, I put the cap on the hormone over here, and I put it out of the way, because if that's uncapped and sitting out, I will knock it over and waste the whole damn thing. Put it all over this area. I'm going to lose a lot dripping off. Now I have my peat moss, and I'm going to try and wrap this around, completely covering that area. I'll give it one more shot so a little bit soaks into the peat moss. I've got some air holes in this plastic too, and this is just seed starting mix. Like I said, seed starting mix. I'm probably going to give it some water through that hole. This starting mix was already a little moist. You do not want it fully saturated. You don't want it sloppy wet. So you just want this damp, so you won't get mold and fungus, and you know, you want a little air movement. So try to cut a couple of holes in this. Some people do, some people don't. I prefer to cut holes because Japanese maples are very susceptible to moisture and rot. I mean, very difficult to clone and cultivate and propagate. Now this is just for me. You don't have to loop your tree like this. I'm doing this so it fits in my growing, because I don't have much height, and this tree is very, very tall, this little tree. And now what I'm going to do is label and put details on here and wrap it up in tape so it's a little darker. Today is Christmas, and I'm going to put how strong my rooting hormone was too. Wrap this around here, leave this the hell alone for a month. We might check it in a couple weeks just to see if root growth has started. But I'm really going to watch the leaf tips right here and see if they start dying back. If they start dying back, I know this tree is pulling nutrition from its leaves and putting them into these roots, and I know this will have rooted. Also, I'm going to mist these occasionally, probably every other day. I'm just going to mist them like that, just to keep things a little moist. I'm not going to over mist it. I'm not going to cause mold or mildew or anything like that. Less is more with these. Less is more. And keep this refrigerated. I keep it right in my refrigerator door. 15x. That way, if it gets too old, I'll just make up a new batch. I am going to keep this guy out of the direct light as much as I can. It's just a cloning habit, and a good habit in my opinion. You never want to put clones in direct sunlight. Now, air layering, it doesn't matter as much, but just to be safe. Just to re-summarize, if you take anything away from this video, less is more. Don't be like me and learn the hard way. I can't tell you how many plants and trees I have killed by overdoing it, over fertilizing, making rooting hormone too strong, being too impatient, and checking things too often. Leave it alone. Or less water, less hormone, less fertilizer, less fucking with it, more time. This channel is going to take this direction. I love horticulture. I always have. I've always messed with these trees. I've just never whipped out the camera. So we're going to start whipping out the camera. And I'm going to show you the little tricks and tips I've learned over the years growing and cultivating trees, and Japanese maples especially. I'm going to start a whole bunch of them for the spring. I've got seeds too that have been stratifying in the fridge for over a month. We'll see how those do, and if they pop, I got some experiments with those too. I'm going to see if they work out. Until the next time, thank you for tuning in. You stay frosty. Don't do anything Jesus wouldn't do, and I will see you on the next one. Please like and subscribe if you got anything out of this so other people can utilize it and see it. Also, we'll do an update in about a month, and I will let you know how these guys are doing, and we'll check this new cutting or this new clone right here.